What if there was a way that you could build a lean, athletic, and aesthetic physique without having to bulk or cut, without having to starve or to gorge yourself, without having to develop an eating disorder, without having to go in circles and just delay getting that lean, athletic, and aesthetic physique? Luckily, there is. In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. And I'm gonna tell you the exact formula I use to build my physique, to build my business, and to play football. So stay with me, because first we're gonna go over the issues with bulking and cutting, then I'm gonna give you the solution, and I'm also gonna leave you with a daily schedule so that you can actually implement the solution and take something away from this video. Oh, and before I forget, if y'all hear a little tick like this that you're about to hear, that means that I'm giving y'all a pro gamer tip. That means I want you to pause your screen. I want you to look at the video and read what that pro gamer tip is, because I'm giving y'all free ism, free wisdom. So just take it and run with it. All right, so first we need to go over the issue with bulking and cutting. And what you're about to see is that it's pretty much two sides of the same coin, because they both have these clear drawbacks. They both have these clear negatives. And it's just two sides of the same coin. It's like on one end it's like starvation, on the other end it's gorging. It's like, at the end of the day though, they both don't work. So we're gonna go over why that is. So first we're gonna start off with bulking though. So the main issue with bulking, and there's a couple of them. The first one we're gonna go over is just sheer gluttony. Look, when you start bulking, the whole goal is to gain size, and specifically muscle. And how do you gain muscle? You gain muscle by getting strong, okay? And the whole notion behind bulking is that you need to essentially become a glutton. You need to eat in this crazy calorie surplus in order to put on size, in order to put on strength, in order to eventually put on muscle. But what bulking does is it essentially causes an eating disorder where you think that it's okay to eat everything. Because believe me, I've been there and I've done that. I've been on the bulk. I've been the nigga that woke up in the morning and I would slam like 5, 6, 7 pieces of bacon in the morning, which I know is super haram, super unkosher. But I was doing that because, you know, nigga was brainwashed. I was out here thinking that, oh, I need a bulk if I want to get big. In reality, all I did was get fat, and I developed like an eating disorder where it was just like, I thought it was okay to just be eating around the clock and eat a whole bunch of food because, oh, I'm bulking, bro, it's all good. But no, in reality, you're setting yourself back because you're not going to be on this bulk forever. However, while you're bulking, you begin to ingrain these habits of gluttony, and that's going to set you back in the long run. Because when you want to stop bulking, now you have to unprogram the habit that you've already ingrained of eating more than you need, which is just an unhealthy way to live, because after all, gluttony is a sin. On top of this too, your performance goes down when you start bulking. And when I'm talking about performance, I'm not just talking about sheer size, sheer strength. I'm talking about everything, because over here on this channel, we're trying to get athletic and aesthetic. So I'm talking about everything goes down, okay? Your cardio is gonna go down, your agility is gonna go down, your ability to jump, your speed, just like your flexibility, your agility. Everything that gets measured in the, you know, the realm of athletics is essentially gonna go down, because when you're bulking, you're adding on too much excessive weight. And one thing about sports athletics in general is that you wanna have the least amount of weight possible. You wanna have the least amount of useless weight possible, and that means fat. The more fat you have, it's just the lower your athleticism is going to be. Simple as that. Because when the weight you have is in the form of muscle, and it's like athletic muscle that you've been using to run fast, jump high, throw punches, etc., that means that all the weight on your body is like useful. It's all functional. It's all geared towards your performance. But when you start bulking, when you start adding on this unnecessary weight, it's like running with a weight vest on. It's like jumping with a weight vest on, which is going to make you less athletic. It's going to lower your performance. And sure, your strength might go up minimally, but in reality, we don't need extra calories in order to get that strength boost. What we can do instead is call on the fat that we already have. Because here's the thing, a lot of people go on a bulk, but they already have fat to burn. And later on in the video, I'm going to give you all the solutions so that you can start burning this fat while gaining muscle at the same time. But the thing is, people already have fat to burn. So instead of taking in calories, just use the fat as fuel in order to get stronger, essentially. Because in the long run, all you're doing is adding on even more fat on top of the fat that you already have. It's like, it's a lose-lose situation, my guy. And last but not least is just confidence, bro. Understand, when you start bulking, bro, you're going to lose your jawline, you're going to lose your abs, you're going to lose all the veins that you see on your body. It's not a good look. You're going to essentially get fat, and when you look in the mirror and you see yourself just slowly getting fat over time, or not slowly for some people, for like me, myself, if I was bulking, yo, I would, next day, I see the difference. Abs gone, veins gone, jawline gone, face fat. And like when you see that, it makes you lose confidence, because in reality, the best type of physique is a lean, athletic, chiseled physique. You don't want to be out here having that like bulky bodybuilder, puffy, whale blubber ass physique. It's not the look. So inevitably when you bulk, your confidence will go down because you just see yourself getting fat. And like there's a lot of evidence that being fat is just not conducive. It's not good for health. It lowers testosterone, and it's just not an attractive or good look. So we want to avoid bulking. On the other side of the coin, we also want to avoid cutting, because cutting is just starvation. Understand, the whole point of cutting is to lower your calories to the point where you're only shredding fat and you're retaining as much muscle as possible. Yada, 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 yada. Whole bunch of BS. Because in reality, you don't need to cut in order to lose fat. The main issue with cutting is that, understand, a calorie is just another way to say energy. If you've been in any science class or whatnot, you know that a calorie just means energy. And when you're taking in less calories, because you have to go into a calorie deficit to be on a cut, that means you're going to have less energy, which is the same thing, which means your performance is going to go down, just like with bulking. Because here's the thing, when you have less energy, you're not going to be able to call upon as much energy when you're trying to run fast. You're not going to be able to call upon as much energy when you're trying to lift weights. You're not going to be able to call upon much energy, even in just day-to-day activities, just like talking to people, having the energy to do that. You're going to be hangry, you're going to be kind of agitated and whatnot, because you just simply need more fuel and you're depriving your body of vital nutrients. So cutting is just going to starve you. It's going to lower your performance. It's going to lower your energy, and it's just not necessary, because on top of that, it's also going to be very unsustainable for your metabolism. So metabolism, quick little science lesson, that's the amount of calories that you burn in a day. So let's just say you're an average person, and in a day, if you do nothing but you just eat 3,000 calories, your body will burn those 3,000 calories, because that's your metabolic rate. That's your base metabolic rate. If you eat 3,000 calories will get burned. When you start bulking and you add on like 500 calories, now you're eating 3,500 calories. Your body's only burning those 3,000 calories, while the 500 calories ideally are stored as muscle, but in most cases, that extra 500 calories get stored as fat. Now, when you cut and you lower like 500 calories and now you're only eating 2,500 calories, your body, for a short amount of time, it will be burning overall weight, which means that you might end up losing muscle in the process. You'll burn muscle and fat, but you will be losing weight in the short term. But eventually, your metabolism adjusts to then suit that 2,500 calories that you're eating. So even though you've cut your calories, you're only going to lose weight for a short amount of time until your metabolism adjusts, and now it only burns 2,500 calories. Then when you want to get out of your cut and you want to start eating normally again, you're going to gain back all the weight you lost, because your metabolism is only burning 2,500 calories. So you go back to eating 3,000 calories. Now it's like you're in a bulk again, and you gain back all the weight that you lost. So essentially, I say all this to say, if you bulk or you cut, it's two sides of the same coin. While one is starvation and the other is gluttony, you end up going in circles. You end up getting nowhere. It's unsustainable. You simply can't do it forever. And like I always say, if you can't do it forever, there's no point in even doing it for one day. All these 30-day challenges, all the stuff you see like 75 hard, it's like, dude, if you're not going to keep this up for life, why even do it? You're just wasting time at that point. We want to play long-term games that we can do for a long time. With these videos, I can make these videos for a long time. When it comes to training and fitness, I can do that for my entire life. And when it comes to the solution I'm about to give y'all, you can do that for your entire life. So don't forget, with cutting, you will lose fat, but you'll also lose muscle. And with both of these, you just end up relapsing. So it's like you spend all this time trying to get this lean athletic physique. You know, you think that if you bulk, that on the cut, you're going to be super lean, you're going to be super shredded, you're going to get super strong on your bulk. You think that when you cut, oh, I'm going to lose all this weight, oh, I'm going to lose all this fat and be super shredded. It's like, no, bro. At the end of the day, you just keep going in circles and you keep wasting time. And look, bro, I'm not going to let you keep doing that. I'm not going to let you keep wasting your time like that, bro. I'm not going to let you keep going in circles and just running on this rat race. No, bro, I'm going to give you a solution. So that way you don't need to do any of these stupid eating disorders and you can actually get real results. That's enough waffling from me though. I'm going to give y'all the solution that y'all have been waiting for very quickly, very shortly. And the solution is simple. The solution is fasting. I mean, come on, y'all. Y'all knew y'all knew it was going to be fasting. Come on, I'm the king of fasting. Come on, I'm the king of fasting. Y'all knew that I was going to tell y'all that the solution is fasting. And I'm about to give you the entire reason why fasting is so essential. So before we even get into fasting and like all the benefits, let me tell you what it is real quick. So fasting, it's just when you eat your food in a condensed eating window. So instead of eating like breakfast, lunch, pre-dinner snack, dinner, dessert, instead of eating around the clock, you just eat in a condensed window. And the window I'm gonna tell y'all about is gonna be about 12 p.m. to like 6 p.m. So you just, eat the same amount of calories just in a smaller window. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really not that hard. And one of the cool things about fasting too is that it pretty much teaches you that it's not about what you do so much as how you do it. Because understand, you're eating the same amount of calories as if you were eating like 3 or 5 times a day. You're just doing it in a condensed window and you get way more benefits. It's like the difference of like 2 people wearing Palm Angels. If you see a fat nigga wearing Palm Angels, you're gonna be like, yeah, that's drip, but like, you know, the drip don't make the drip don't make the nigga makes the drip, you know what I'm saying? But if you see like a lean, chiseled, athletic, like let's say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is wearing Palm Angels, you're gonna see that, you're gonna be like, oh, that's aura, bro, that's aura, like he's tough, blah blah blah. So I say that to say it's not about what you do so much as how you do it. And fasting is just the best way to be eating out here because it maximizes everything, and you're about to see how. So there's a lot of freaking benefits to fasting, and look, we'd be here all day if I went over all the benefits. So I'm just gonna go over my notes real quick, and I'm gonna tell y'all all the different benefits. So the first benefit is that HGH increases. So HGH, if you didn't know, that's human growth hormone. So all this means is that it's gonna be easier to retain muscle, it's gonna be easier to burn fat, and it's gonna be easier to look younger, because HGH is also known as the youth hormone. The more HGH you have, the more muscle you have, the easier it is to retain muscle, the easier it is to build muscle, and the younger you'll look. That's why a lot of people who fast, you'll notice that their skin starts to glow and they just look younger. Simple as that. Next thing is going to be BDNF increase. So BDNF, that's brain-derived neurotropic factor. This just means that it's going to be easier for you to think. You're going to notice that when you fast, during the state where you're fasted, you have a lot of mental clarity. You have just a lot more focus, and your creativity actually spikes, because BDNF, it's like miracle grow for the brain. It essentially makes you smarter, and that gets boosted when you start fasting. And then also just diving into a little bit of the history of fasting. It's just like when we were hunter-gatherers, we were always fasting, because think about it, there was no fridges, there was no pantries. You couldn't go into the pantry, you know, you couldn't look under the rock and be like, oh, there's my Cheerios, let me have this for a snack real quick. No, bro. You had to eat what you killed, and if you didn't kill nothing, you wasn't eating. So because of that, fasting was very common. You know, during the day, there's no food, there's no leftovers from last night, there's no fridges to preserve whatever you killed. So you had to wake up, go hunt. Once you find the food, come back, you know, dissect the food, skin it, shred the food, cook the food a little bit, and then, you know, typically people would eat around night. So I say that to say fasting is just a natural part of human history. And another reason why, I'm pretty sure the reason why BDNF goes up is because, like, when you go back to this time, it's like, you gotta think, if we couldn't think creatively, if we couldn't think, you know, and be focused while we were fasted, we wouldn't have been able to hunt these animals while we were in this fasted state. So because of that, that's why I think BDNF goes up. That's just my own personal theory. But yeah, to all the people that go out there and say that fasting is an eating disorder, that say that fasting is starvation, no, it's not, because you're not eating any less calories. But on top of that, just go back in history and look, we've been doing this forever, essentially. Another thing about fasting is that when you're fasting, you'll spend more time burning fat. So understand. More time burning fat, that means you're spending more time catabolic. Catabolic just means that you're breaking down molecules. It means stuff is breaking down. So if you're fasting, you're spending more time in this catabolic state. You're spending more time breaking down fat. You're spending 16 to 20 hours out of the day fasting. You're spending that 16 to 20 hours breaking down fat. Because here's what happens, is when you eat around the clock, insulin goes up. When you're fasting, insulin goes down. And when insulin goes down, what happens is that instead of relying on food for energy, you know, glucose, instead of relying on external calories for energy, your body will instead tap into fat storages for energy. And you go into a mini state of what is known as ketosis. So stay with me, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this too much. Essentially what happens is that when you're not eating around the clock, once you go into your fasted state after you eat your last meal, and then from the time until you eat your first meal, your insulin goes down, which allows you to tap into your fat storages, which allows you to spend 16 to 20 hours out of the day burning fat, which means you'll actually burn more fat than you would if you were cutting in the long run, because you're simply spending more time in that catabolic state of, burning fat. Now, let's say you were cutting and you ate let's say you were on a diet of like 2,500 calories, you're in a 500 calorie deficit, and you eat 5 different meals of 500 calories. Even though you're eating less calories throughout the day, since you're spiking insulin 5 times throughout the day, you're not actually going to spend that much time burning fat, which means that you're at risk of actually losing muscle in the process. Y'all see how it's about how you do it and not what you do? It's about how you do it, not what you do, my guy. Because 2 people can be doing the exact same thing. 2 people can be fighting, but one nigga's smooth as fuck with it and dodging every punch and punching that nigga without getting hit. And the other nigga is taking all the hits. The other nigga is getting freaking brain damage. The other nigga is getting cooked. So I say all that to say it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. Another thing about fasting too is that it also makes you anabolic. So remember I was talking about catabolism, Catabolism is the breakdown of molecules. Anabolism is the growing, the building, the creation of molecules. And when you're fasting, you fast for 16 or 20 hours, you haven't ate. What happens is this primes the body to then take in nutrients because you're depleted after all. You don't really have any nutrients. You don't have any food in your system. You don't have any calories. This primes the body so that when you do take in food, it's going to absorb all those nutrients and it's going to send it to the places where it needs to go. It's going to send it to your muscles. It's going to send it to your bones. It's going to send it to your brain. It's essentially just going to partition the amount of nutrients and calories that you get way better than if you were just eating constantly around the clock. Like, think of it this way. If you're eating around the clock, your body doesn't need to make sure that the calories and that the nutrients are going to, the vital places where it needs to go, because it knows that it's going to be getting food around the clock. But when your body knows that it's only getting food at like a specific time and a smaller amount of time, it knows that it needs to use those resources, use those nutrients, use those calories wisely. Because of that, it's going to send it to the places where it needs to go. So because of that, the nutrients and the calories that you consume while fasting are just going to be better utilized. And like I just said, it's about how you do it, not what you do. Two people can be eating the exact same food, but because this guy's fasting, his body's going to use that food, that fuel, that much more efficiently. Another thing too, gut health is going to improve. And the reason for this is simple. Elimination is the only way to improve gut health. So when you eliminate food, even if like you're only getting like technically like a microdose of elimination throughout the day, it's still going to improve gut health in the long run. On top of this, digestion will give you more energy, or rather the lack of digestion leads to more energy. Because understand, when you're digesting, that takes about like 30% of your body's energy. Like, if y'all didn't know, digestion, it's just a huge process. That's why a lot of people who eat like at work, when they eat lunch and they eat like these high carb meals that unfortunately the FDA has been trying to push on us, but hopefully RFK can sort that shit out. But what happens is when you eat like, especially like high carb filled meals, which is essentially what Americans eat every day, you'll get this crash because digestion just takes so much energy. And on top of that, the energy that you're getting is not being used properly. Real quick, little tangent, carbs are meant to be used for performance. They're meant to be used to like fuel your physical activities. And when you're eating carbs and then just sitting down, you're just going to accumulate fat because those carbs are not getting utilized properly. They're just accumulating. You're essentially being a glutton. Don't do that. If you're not moving throughout the day, if you're working a 9 to 5, try to eliminate carbs and really just focus on getting a lot of fats and proteins like red meat, avocados, fish, stuff like that. On top of, and then another thing too, a lot of people worry about morning hunger when they're fasting. Look, you don't need to worry about morning hunger when you're fasting because the body will naturally adjust. You got to think. If you've been eating breakfast, if you've been eating around the clock whenever you want for the last 18, 20 plus years, it's not going to be an overnight fix, my guy. It takes some getting used to. There's got to be a little bit of a progression bias. So give yourself 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Give yourself a week to get used to it. And trust me, you'll get used to it. It's not that hard. I remember when I first started fasting, it's like, yeah, bro, I was hungry in the morning because my body, our body gets used to eating at certain times. So I would be hungry in the morning, gave it a week, the hunger disappears. Like right now, it's like 9 a.m. I've been up since 6 a.m. I'm not even hungry, my guy. I'm simply not. I'm chilling because my body's used to it. Your body will adapt, so just give it the time it needs. Also, drinking a huge jug of water helps. Another thing about fasting is it just gives you freedom because it gives you freedom to eat anything you want. Like if you want to eat a pizza, if you want to eat cookies, which obviously I don't recommend, but I'm saying you could. If you want to go out drinking alcohol or something and eat street tacos, you could do that and you would be fine just because you know that your body has enough time to process and digest the food. And it just gives you that freedom. It gives you that peace of mind. Like, y'all know me, like, come on, I don't really be eating unhealthy or nothing like that. But if I were to eat unhealthy, I wouldn't really stress about it because I know that my body's going to be able to digest it because I'm fasting. I know that it's going to spend that time in that catabolic state burning fat. And because that just gives you peace of mind and it allows you to really eat anything you want. Do I recommend that? No. But could you test the gods? Could you test fate like that? Yes. All right, last little tidbit about fasting before I give y'all the solution and the daily schedule on how you can fast effectively is just think about Goldilocks. Bulking is like the father whose soup was too hot or whatever, or his porridge was too hot. And then cutting is like, you're eating too little. That's like the mom whose soup was, too cold and blah, blah, blah. And then Goldilocks, that's the son who got it just right. He had his porridge just right. And that's what fasting does. You're not eating too much. You're not eating too little. You're eating a normal amount of calories. You're eating the same amount that you would in a day, but you're just doing it in a better window and you're doing it in the best way possible. Remember how you do it over what you do. So you're eating the same amount of calories just in a condensed eating window, and because of that, your body is able to utilize the nutrients in a much better way. It's able to partition the nutrients much better, and you essentially get the best of both worlds. During the day, while you're, before you eat your first meal, while you're fasting, you're in the catabolic state. You're in your cutting part of your day. Then once you start eating, you enter the anabolic / bulking part of your day, and you're able to fluctuate between these two. Because there's no point in doing this stuff like cutting or bulking for long periods of time just to switch eventually. It's better to just fluctuate between them every single day. And real quick, if you want to get a lean, athletic, and aesthetic physique, don't forget to click the top link in the description below and get my free athletic workout system. Got a whole training program, workout tracker, nutrition guidelines, meal ideas, along with 8 recovery protocols. So just go check that out. It's free. All right, so real quick, we're gonna just get into the schedule you can follow to actually do this effectively. And this is the schedule that I currently follow. This is the schedule I followed when I was playing football, to just fast effectively without, being low on energy or being tired or anything. It's just making sure that you can fast without issues, essentially. So the first block is going to be from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And this is when you just want to do your deep work, your most creative work. You want to do your deep creative work from about 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. because, like I said, this is when you have the most BDNF. When you fast, you get that boost in BDNF. This is when you're the most locked in, you're the most focused, you're the most creative. And ideally, you can really move the needle forward. So what I would do is, back when I was playing football, I would wake up super early, honestly, like 4:30 a.m. I would work on my business. I would work on, I had a whole program and whatnot in athletics, which I'm actually going to re-release soon. But yeah, I would work on that for an hour and a half. Then I would go to practice. Before practice, we would have meetings and whatnot. So in meetings and whatnot, I would be focused. I'd be locked in, lasered in. And yeah, that's what I would do. Nowadays, I just use this 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. block to do my deep creative work. So that's stuff like, filming this video, scripting a video, editing a video. It's this is when I want to be the most locked in and really use my creative and mental energies to the fullest. Now, an issue a lot of people have is that they might get hungry during this time. And what you can do in order to combat that is just use hunger blunts. So hunger blunts, this is going to be stuff like caffeine, aka coffee. This is going to be stuff like nicotine gum, niggas in their Zen pouches and whatnot. This can be stuff like just drinking water, or you can drink sparkling water for the carbonation. It's going to make you feel full. So that's just some stuff that you can use as hunger blunts. Next block is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this is ideally when you want to train. So back when I was playing football, we would train around 9 a.m. for a couple hours, finish around 12. So these days, I really just train. I'll do lifting, I'll sprint, I might do some boxing, and I'll do that from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or whatnot. After that, refeed. And since the body is primed to take in nutrients, and we know that food is information, as I've already told you, protein is repair algorithms. Fat is hormone optimization. You want to make sure that you refeed with protein and fat, because that's just going to tell your body to rebuild and repair and grow muscle and make sure that your hormones are optimized. If you refeed with something like carbs, like cookies, candies, even fruit, honestly doesn't work. If you refeed with something like that, you're telling your body that you need energy to do an activity, and you just train. You don't really need energy to do any crazy activity. Remember, carbs are for physical energy. Stuff like fats are for mental energy along with hormones, and then protein, that's just to rebuild and repair. That's to rebuild and repair damaged tissues. So make sure that you refeed with protein and fat. And then on top of this, you can also just spend some time in the sun. After you eat the food and it's digestion, just spend some time chilling, relaxing, read a book in the sun, go on a walk in the sun, listen to a podcast in the sun. And the reason I really emphasize the sun is just because the sun gives you vitamin D, which is a hormone which is essential for bone health and just really feeling good and looking good. And you get tan as fuck, and it helps you look lean and whatnot. So just spend some time in the sun after you train and refeed. Next is going to be 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then this is when you do shallow work. So back when I was playing football, during this time, this is when I would go to class, just do some shallow work, just fuck around, kind of, not really do anything that was really important. I would also network, just talk to people. When I say network, I'm just talking about socializing. It really ain't that deep. You just talk to people, and if y'all fuck with each other, then that's someone you can add to your network. If y'all don't fuck with each other, then y'all not in the same network. Simple as that. So yeah, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is just shallow work and networking, just chilling and whatnot. You essentially just vibing. You can get more work done, but I would just recommend getting menial, little tasks, little duties, making calls, setting up appointments and whatnot. Doing those little tasks that kind of, slip, that aren't as important, and just let them slip to this part of the day. And then you can still focus on that and get that shit done. Now, obviously, my schedule's pretty different because I'm an entrepreneur. I was an athlete and whatnot. If you go to school, if you're in high school or something, you go to school from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. or if you're like working a job and you're working from 9 to 5, then I would just recommend switching these two blocks, the 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You want to switch those. So then for you, instead of be like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., you're just working, you know, first part of the day you do your deep work, second part of the day you do more shallow work. Once 2 p.m. hits, you could have like a pre-workout meal of like some fruit, then go train, or you could train faster if you were a Relapse nigga, and then you could relax after that, obviously. So just do what works for you. Follow the schedule that works best for you. Then the last block of the day, this is just a wind down time, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And this is just when you chill and have your last meal. And ideally for this last meal, make sure you throw a lot of carbs in that meal, healthy carbs like rice, sweet potatoes, fruits, veggies. You want to throw a lot of carbs in that meal because the fuel, the carbs that you eat in this meal is what's going to carry you over into your training the next day. So make sure you eat a lot of carbs so that way you have a lot of energy for the next day. So me personally, I like to eat like a whole bunch of rice. I have a whole bunch of sweet potatoes, a whole bunch of potatoes or something. And you want to make sure that you just have that last meal with a lot of carbs and whatnot, so that way you have energy for tomorrow. Now me personally, I only eat 1 meal a day, so I actually get all my calories in this little window right here, and it's pretty smooth. I just have a bunch of protein, a bunch of fat, and then finish it off with a bunch of carbs. Now obviously I don't recommend doing that if you're just starting off with the fasting. Stick to the 2 meals a day. But you can upgrade to the big leagues soon, one day. I believe in you, bro. Oh, another little tidbit is cheeks before meal. Cheeks before meal. I say all this to say is that if you're gonna smash cheeks, make sure you do it before you eat this last meal, because I've just noticed in my personal experience, I feel like you move way better. It's just a way better experience when you get cheeks before the meal as opposed to after the meal, because then you kind of weighed down by the food if you smash cheeks after the meal. So that's just my personal tidbit of wisdom. But yeah, for this last part of the day, just chillax, bro. It's the end of the day. You done worked hard. You did deep work. You trained. You did some shallow work. You got shit done. You network. Maybe you even smash some cheeks, bro. So just chill out for the rest of the day. Hang out with friends. Hang out with family. Watch some Netflix. Watch some anime. I'm watching Inuyasha right now. That joint kind of fire. I don't like. At first I was like, damn, this shit lame as fuck. But that nigga Inuyasha is that nigga, bro. So I really do like that show. But yeah, just chill out. Play some video games and whatnot. Now, obviously, if you're in the Sigma grind set monk mode type of nigga, if you on that wave, bro, by all means, bro, put in more work. But I like to enjoy life, even in the midst of the struggle, in the midst of the process. So me personally, I'm just going chillax at the end of the day. And I'll get some stretching and whatnot in. I get some stretching in while watching Netflix. I just be chilling, planning out the day for tomorrow. And yeah, and then you got, then you already have a plan set up for what you're gonna do tomorrow. So this is the schedule essentially. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's just deep work block. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is when you want to train. This is like the recess block, train, refeed, get some time in the sun. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is when you just get some shallow work done, network and whatnot. Then obviously, if you work a job, if you go to school for a lot of the day, then switch these two blocks. And then the last part of the day, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is just when you want to eat your last meal and just chillax. And yeah, that's the schedule you can follow to successfully fast. So just remember, y'all, you don't need to develop an eating disorder in order to get good results when it comes to fitness. If you want to get that lean, athletic, and aesthetic physique, don't forget, top link in the description below. But really, just make sure that you're fasting. It's a natural cheat code. It's just gonna get you so right because it's gonna allow you to better partition and better utilize the nutrients that you're taking in. And it's also gonna allow you to structure your day way better. It's gonna give you that freedom, that peace of mind. So just make sure that y'all start fasting. And if y'all enjoyed this video, y'all definitely are gonna enjoy the video that I made about my top 10 diet commandments. So that should be up on the screen right now. Just click that, check it out. But yeah, with all that being said, if you watch this video, I do appreciate you. Stay up, stay blessed, and stay based. Dooski.
I'm a band man, count bands, man. Off the key stand, kill me in the truck.